Yes, and first of all, I want to use this medium to really appreciate the Reverend for really coming out to speak and speak the bitter truths, because it marvels me when people come on air and say there's no Christian genocide in Nigeria. That's a big fat lie. Sometimes we fail to understand that human lives matters. If it doesn't touch home, you will not want to deny the fact that we have experienced Christian genocide in Nigeria. I agree with some Muslims also being killed, but I tell you that the Christian has been so patient in this country, and I'm happy about that, because we believe in peace, and also we don't believe in attack me, I attack you, because if it has to be so, Nigeria would have been history. But what we need now is that we need a reconciliation. And this talk, genocide talk, must not die. This is the time to keep on talking about it, so that the Supreme Muslim Council, the Christian Association of Nigeria will all come together and say, hey, enough is enough. He made mention of Arne. Arne means unbeliever. You understand? That's what it meant by Arne. And we need to start, watching or listening to our preachers, what they preach about Nigerians. If I'm in a church and you're telling me negatively about the Muslims, that should be checked. If you are in the mosque and you're talking negative about the Christian, that should also be checked, because we are all human beings. We are Nigerians. We are living beings. Because if we keep on preaching hatred, the government needs to start looking at the church and also start looking at the mosque. That is the preachers and the preachers and also the imams. We need to start looking at them very carefully, because most of those statements, sometimes are very insightful. When you call somebody an unbeliever, when you see him, what do you do to him? So we need to address a lot of things in this country, Kayode, and that is why I'm very happy that this talk must not die. This is the time for us to start speaking. And I'm happy for the tweet of Donald Trump. If he had not tweeted, we've not seen all this action happening. Nigerians have been crying. I've been on this studio more than 120 times since 2008. Are you with me? And we've been talking about insecurity, talking about what has been happening in Nigeria, and it seems as if nobody's listening. But it took a tweet from the President of the United States to bring everybody into action. If it's going to take more tweets from international community to make Nigeria great again, we welcome that, because we cannot continue to live like this. But so far so good. I'm impressed with the actions from the presidency, and this action speaks louder than voice, and we've seen most of the commands and also some of the security design. But I tell you that we have a long way to go in this area of fight. Like now, if you look at the belt from Kogi, from Kebbi, Kogi, down to Kwara, it has a corridor, and this corridor is where most of these criminal, passes through to go and commit these criminal activities. Let's not give them time to sleep. The problem is that we allow them to sleep. When you allow criminals to sleep, they plan, they regroup, and they attack. So let's not give them time to regroup and also plan. The president last week made mention of recruiting more men. That will not solve the problem, Kayode. If you say you want to keep on recruiting more men, these guys, they still have the ability to kill the officers and men. So for me, I've said it on many fora that for you to have an effective security strategy, don't just depend on the personnel. There's what we call force protection. Give them force protection so that they don't get killed like chickens. You can't have a soldier train so hard and die cheap. Now, the president did not even make mention of technology, effective technology, because three measures are present when it comes to security management: the human factor, the technological factor, and the processes. Kayode, a battalion of soldiers in this country with an appropriate technology can defeat all the terrorist groups in this country. What we need effective drones that they can use and go to these enemies then and wipe them out. So it's not about personnel. Because I can tell you, 5 soldiers can be in the base. Like we are here now, we can monitor what is happening in Sambisa. And all you just need to do, ascertain the ISR, the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance information from the drone. Then what you need to do, then you send in any deliverable you need to send there to go and wipe out these guys. So it's not about personnel. I tell you, we have the personnel, but we need more personnel, as the case may be. But let's look at having a lot of drones. And I would advise the presidency and the chief of defense staff to establish drone battalions. We don't have drone battalions. Now, the Ukraine, they have drone battalions, and that's why they are still holding strong in their defensive line. So let's establish drone battalions so we'll be able to mitigate the loss of the lives of our officers and men, because it's so painful. You have our soldiers being killed as if they're animals by this unnecessary human being who are not even well trained as our soldiers. I can tell you that the making of a soldier is very tough. You cannot just see how I saw the videos of most of these guys on TikTok, and I would look at them and say, these are the guys killing our officers, these are the guys killing our soldiers. That tells you that there's an operational error within the army, there's a tactical error within the army, and those errors need to be addressed. And one more thing, Kayode, you see, sometimes these guys, maybe next time we're going to talk about the organogram of this terrorist group. They are very, very well structured. right from their command, come to their intelligence network. There is no single strike these guys carry out without deploying intelligence. Before they go on any strike, they have men on ground who check if the security personnel are present, who will check what is happening within that environment, and they will communicate. The coast is clear, come and clear it. That is what we call counter-surveillance. So we need to start having an effective counter-surveillance team that will counter the surveillance of these guys. That's what we call hostile surveillance. So we need a lot of things to do. The army to establish drone battalions so that we'll be able to, fight these guys and bring them to book. The Nigerian army has the capability, I tell you, they have the capability, but they need to work on their operational strategy. Don't leave a soldier for so long in the battlefield. This error, they keep on making this error. You leave a soldier for 4 years in the battlefield. My younger brother spent 4 years in the Northeast. He was shot in 2014. He went back after recovery and he spent an additional 3 years. 4 years. How will you leave a soldier in the battlefield for 4 years? That is a tactical, that's an operational error. In fact, it's an intentional operational error. No commander should do that, because when attacks come from this enemy, from these terrorists, what the army do is that they begin to run away. They begin to withdraw. Why? Because if you don't know when you are going back home to reunite with your wife and children, I tell you, your fighting spirit will depreciate, because every battle begins from the mind. So every soldier must know when they are going to the battlefield, and they must know when they are coming back home. That is going to motivate them and give them more morale to fight this enemy of the state and wipe them out.